Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video is going to be a chatty get ready with me. I have had this video requested for a very long time now, so I'm just going to be getting ready and doing like a little life update and kind of letting you guys know a little bit more about me. So I'm a little bit nervous to make this video, but why don't we just go ahead and jump into it. Alrighty, so I know that I can be a very chatty person, so I kind of just want to get started with my makeup, like get the ball rolling and kind of explain a little bit more about this video. So I did also want to say, a lot of times when I do my trying new makeup videos, I'm not very chatty in them. I'm mostly focused on the makeup, how it's working, what I'm thinking about it. Today, I'm just going to be focusing more on the actual chatting part than I am like the makeup, the application, what's happening. I don't think I'm really using any new products today, but I will go ahead and list out everything that I'm using, the tools I'm using, and all of that in the description box. So if you're curious about anything, you can make sure to check it down there. But so I started seeing, every once in a while I ask, what videos you guys want to see on my channel? What are you interested in seeing? And I've been noticing for a while, a lot of people are saying we want to see, kind of a chatty video, a story time video. I used to do a couple story time videos on my channel, and so people were requesting that. And I kept seeing that over and over again. So finally, I once again said something on social media like, I'm seeing storytime videos getting requested, Try to Get Ready With Me is getting requested. What do you guys want me to talk about? Like, what are you interested in? And a lot of people asked for a life update. I kind of mentioned I was going through a couple things back at more like the beginning of 2018. People wanted to see an update on my mental health, the depression that I was going through. My husband lost his job in January. That was a really big life change. People wanted to get an update about that. And it's interesting because I've given updates, but on other social media accounts, on, when Snapchat was still alive and well, and Instagram stories, and, little Twitter comments here and there. And, I've made comments in YouTube videos too. Oh, my husband's working again. Oh, I'm feeling much better about this or that. But I haven't really sat down and filmed a video about it. And I guess that it still surprises me that people are interested in hearing about my life and getting updates and that sort of thing. But it was interesting to see how many comments came in, and it really made me think, okay, you need to make sure that you're doing videos like this more. So thank you for all of the comments and suggestions, and honestly, just for caring. I mean, seriously, like, it sounds weird, but it does mean a lot. I'm actually gonna be using the Urban Decay Elements palette because I know I need to review this one soon, and I feel like I have not used it enough yet, so I'm gonna be playing with this one today. So as I started seeing that come in, I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna film a video. And I was kind of, thinking through things. What exactly am I gonna talk about? How am I gonna talk about it? I know the big thing was, my mental health, and like I said, my husband's job, and I kind of went through like, okay, I could explain this and that, and I could explain why I was going through such a hard time, and then why, when he did lose his job, why it affected me so deeply, and all these other things. But I thought, if I just go in and say that, people are going to be really confused. I'm going to get a ton of judgment of, why did you make this decision? Why did you make that decision? It doesn't make any sense, etc. So I was like, I really am going to have to take people back. I'm going to have to try to make you understand more about me and how what's happened to me in the past reflects on the decisions that I make today. And I'm gonna have to try to explain why I made some decisions and why I was so determined in certain areas in my life, even when I knew things weren't going well, and all these different things. I was like, I'm gonna have to make you understand me more than kind of what you just see in videos, just reviewing makeup, just hauling makeup, just talking about makeup. I have to make you understand who I am as a person, if that makes sense. So I thought maybe it could be an interesting video. I've touched on certain topics in the past, but I thought maybe it would be helpful to just kind of learn more about Samantha and who I am off camera, and where I've been in life and where I've come from and how that's led me to who I am now, versus just kind of giving like a basic update, and a lot of people might be confused. So here we go. So I'm gonna take you guys back. I'm 9 years old. Okay, it's not like that dramatic or anything, but it's kind of really where my story does start. When I was 9, I decided in life what I wanted to be when I grew up was an author. Grandmother was an avid reader, so was my mother. I loved going to the library. I just decided I wanted to be a writer. And I really wanted to be a writer because that's what I enjoyed doing. I liked reading, so I thought I'm gonna be a writer one day. That was it. When I was 11 years old, I was sexually abused by a family member. If you guys don't know, I get emotional very easily and I'm so frustrated because I don't want the emotion to take away from what I'm saying. When I was 11 years old, I was sexually abused by a family member. And that was really, it was really kind of like a catalyst to truly everything else in life. So I was abused for about 6 months by my older stepbrother. And I came forward, told a friend on the way to school, and she had me go to the guidance counselor. I told the guidance counselor, you know, everything fell into place after that. But the main part of this story and how it relates to who I am today was that a few months after me coming forward, you know, I told my friends, you know, like my group of friends at school, and I had a friend come up to me one time. We were in the library, and she told me that she had been being abused by her uncle for years. And she said that she didn't think that she would have ever come forward and told her story had it not been for me telling my story. I'm 11 years old. And I can remember, like, if you were to put me back in that school and put me back in that library, I could tell you the exact spot where I was standing. It's because I did not realize at the time how significant and how big of a part of my life that would have. But I can remember thinking to myself, like, whoa, you know, I didn't come forward and tell because I wanted to help other people. I did it because I wanted to help myself and I knew something wrong was happening. And I can remember thinking to myself, well, okay, so I helped one person, well, how do I help more people? And then I thought, books. You help people through books. After learning that, a friend, you know, came forward and told her story, and I was able to help someone without even realizing I was doing it. It kind of became, you know, a mission of mine. I'm gonna help more people, and I'm gonna help people through my books. I'm gonna write stories one day, and I'm gonna help people. So flash forward to when I am about 15 years old. I've been in a relationship with a guy for several years. I started dating my first boyfriend when I was very young, and we dated for many, many years. And it was a great relationship until it wasn't. You know, kind of one of those. And I won't get into too many details, but kind of the main thing was there was one night where he came to my house and told me that he was going to take another girl to his like homecoming dance. And I was like, well, that's pretty messed up. He was older than me and I was younger and I couldn't go. And I was like, well, that's pretty messed up. I don't think, you know, for dating, I don't think that you should take another girl to this homecoming. Like, what? No. And in response to that, he picked me up and threw me into a wall. And unfortunately, my head connected with, I had some of these like porcelain, like glass butterfly figurines on my wall in my bedroom. And unfortunately, my head went into one of them. And I don't know, I mean, the scar's pretty faint right now, but I have a scar right here in the middle of my forehead because I had to get stitches that night because it busted open my head so deeply. And I remember laying there getting stitches while my boyfriend took another girl to the dance and thinking, well, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening? Because even from 11 to 15, that's not where all of these kind of like really crappy life things have stopped. There's more in between. And I'm thinking, I'm only 15 years old. Like, what more do you want from me? What more can I do? What more can I go through? Why is this happening to me? You know, one of those situations. And then I thought, well, it's because I'm gonna write about it one day. I'm gonna put it in a book. I'm gonna help people. I'm gonna help people who are in abusive relationships get out of them. So, flash forward a little bit more. I'm now getting ready to publish my first book, which is called Destined to Fail. Some of that book is about me, kind of the beginning stages, kind of the like beginning stages of the book is more about me. in my life and kind of like the past I've been through. The family abuse is touched on, the physical abuse is touched on. And so I'm getting ready to publish that book, and I chose for it to be called Destined to Fail because you know how people are like, oh, if you could write a book about your life or a movie about your life, what would you call it? Truly, that's how I feel. And honestly, I'm 31 and I still feel that way. It's just like, you know, you take a couple of steps forward and you just get punched backwards, and you take a couple of steps forwards and then you get dropped down again. Personally, I've just kind of like felt that about my life for a while. So when I was writing a book and I wanted to put some of my experiences in there because my goal was to hopefully help some people, my book ended up being called Destined to Fail. So, you know, this is my first novel, my debut novel. It's a bit rough. That's why it's only 99 cents on Amazon right now. I feel like you can definitely tell it's a debut work. But I was really proud of that book, and especially because I got, over the years, but especially within the first few months of that book publishing, I got a lot of emails from people saying how the book helped them, how they were able to relate to the books. One of the quotes on the cover from an early reader, it says, "I want to give this book to every woman I know." When I got the first email from a reader, someone I didn't know from my blogging world, someone I didn't know from the book world, when I got that first email from a girl who said that she was in an abusive relationship, and my book helped her be able to find the strength to get out of it, and that she related so much to some of the certain situations in there, I printed off that email and I still have it in one of my top desk drawers. Because sometimes I need to look at those reminders and think like, I am helping someone. Because that's a really huge thing for me, and that's why I do what I do. It's not easy to put yourself out like this. It's not easy to be vulnerable. It's not easy to write books and have to relive those scenarios and situations. My latest book that published, The Sixth Christie, actually has my scene in there of me going to the guidance counselor. It's written from the guidance counselor's point of view, but it's a scene I've always wanted to write, and it's a scene I'm really proud of. But it's just, you know, obviously it was such a momentous life occasion. I can remember seriously almost word for word what was said in that room, which is wild. So I've always wanted to write that, but still now when I get emails from any of my books, because, you know, some of my books are deeper than others, but when I get some of the messages saying that I've helped someone, they've been able to relate to the book, they were able to get out of a certain situation because of my books, I'm just like, yes, I'm doing it. I'm making a difference in someone's life. It reminds me that for everything that I've been through, I truly believe that it is for a reason. That reason is for me to have a voice. That reason is for me to have a platform. That reason is for me to help. And that's such an amazing feeling, and one that I'm sure I'll never take for granted. So hopefully just sharing two really big life events in my young life will kind of help you understand some of the next things that I'm going to say. I just wanted to touch on those two. It's really sad that I have even more that I could talk about, and some that are even worse than what I just mentioned, but those are the two that I'm going to share for now. And one thing that, because of what I have gone through in life, one of my goals, one of my biggest goals in life is to somehow help people who were in my situation, or, you know, similar situations or whatever it may be, but not just helping through writing and hopefully it gets to them, but I've put this out there one time and it was on Snapchat, and I can remember saying it, and I can remember being really nervous about it because I'm someone who, I've been told a lot from people in my life that my goals are too big. My dreams are too big. You know, you need to scale down. You need to bring it back. You need to get back to reality. That's not going to happen. And so sometimes when you put it out there, what you really want to achieve someday, and people shut it down like, no, that's never going to happen, it just makes you a little bit nervous to like put it out there. But one of my biggest dreams and goals that I've had for many, many years now is to start like a scholarship fund for, you know, it always used to be, you know, for girls who went through certain situations like myself, but, you know, really just for anybody who's been through really hard times, who have been at rock bottom, who have been through life situations that are not their fault, you know, that other people put them in. To start a scholarship fund for them, because I'm 31 years old. I've been graduated from college for a very long time and I'm still paying my student loans, and sometimes it feels like I'm never gonna be overpaying my student loans. And one thing that I really wanted to do was go to college, and I did not know if that would be in my cards for a very long time, but I just really, really wanted to go to college. I'm using these Real Techniques brushes. They're from their new Brush Crush set. I got these sent to me from Octoly. I actually ordered the other set, the one that came with the sponge, but they sent me these, and then I got a message from them saying, sorry, we shipped you the wrong ones. We'll ship out the correct ones, and then they sent me this exact same set again. So I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm just gonna roll with it and try these out today. This one's really soft though. So yes, going to college was a really big thing to me, but there was a point in time where I wasn't even sure if I was going to graduate from high school. There was a point in time where I wasn't sure I was going to make it to high school graduation because I wasn't sure I was going to be alive. So, not to get super dramatic there, but walking across the stage at my high school graduation with honors is hands down one of the proudest moments of my life. I knew that I wanted to go to college because I knew that I had all of these ambitions and all of these things that I wanted to achieve with my life, and I felt like going to college would really help me with that. But I'm someone who's never really had a lot of money, ever. And I don't mean like, oh, I couldn't afford like the designer clothes or whatnot. I couldn't afford to eat. I used to steal food. So that's what I'm talking about when I say that I haven't had a lot of money. Never really had a lot of money, definitely could not afford to go to college, but I really wanted to. So I applied to every single scholarship that I could find. I applied for all of the government aid assistance that I could, and I got a lot. I got scholarships, I got financial aid, which was so great. But of course it didn't cover everything, and so I did have to take out a lot of student loans, not just for, you know, tuition, but for books. I didn't have a ton of money, so I was applying to all these different scholarships. So and today student loans is something that still stresses me out. I'm still in a lot of debt. I'm in a lot of debt because student loans wouldn't handle everything, so I was applying for credit cards when I was 18, 19 years old. Again, not to be doing all these fun things and buying all these cool things, but to live, to get by, to buy my groceries, to put gas in my car so I can get to my jobs, etc. I'm still trying to get out of debt, and I'm still trying to pay off my freaking student loans. Just always thought one day I want to start a scholarship fund. I want to be able to help people whose dream it is to go to college to get continuing education, but they can't afford it because of, you know, whatever situations that their lives have taken them in. In my book, Destined to Fail, actually what the character does at the end of the story is she kind of creates almost like a shelter for girls who are going through something. I wasn't sure. I mean, I was 19 when I wrote that book. I really wasn't sure what it was that I wanted to do with my life, or, you know, what this great thing would be to help other people. That came a couple years later. But now that's one of like my biggest goals. And like I said, people kind of shut that down. I've even talked to like lenders because, you know, I want to be able to start some sort of business. I've written up business plans and I've gone, you know, to lenders and said, you know, this is what I want to do. This is my plan. This is how I want to start it. And I really get like the, sweetie, no. And it's so frustrating. So one thing that I, you know, kind of learned is, you know, I don't have a lot of money. I feel like people who have a lot of money, their voices get heard easier, and I don't have that. So I started a women's lifestyle blog in October of 2009, so that's kind of fun. I started it for kind of a variety of different reasons. I wanted to be able to find other people who had the same interests as me because I felt like I didn't get that in my real life a lot. I also wanted to, you know, publish a novel one day. I'd always known that, and I wanted to make connections in the industry. But as time went on, one thing that I realized with my blog and with social media was that I was giving myself a platform without realizing it. I didn't really go into starting a blog and starting, you know, social media to have a platform because I didn't really realize it at that time. I mean, blogging was still like fairly new back then. I think YouTube was like just starting to come around. But I realized over the years, I was giving myself a voice. I was giving myself a platform. And once that started to click into place, I was like, this is it. Like, this was what I was meant to do, because maybe I don't have money so people aren't listening to me, but I'm gonna have a voice and people are going to listen to me one day. I know it. Once I kind of realized that and realized that could be a good path that I'm on, I really took everything that I was doing seriously. I tried to make wise decisions with the jobs I was at and saving money, because I thought one day, you know, I really want to make this a full-time career. This is what I'm meant to do. It's not that I'm just meant to write books because I like books. I'm meant to tell my stories. And now relating that to YouTube, I don't want to just have a YouTube to talk to you about makeup. I want to be able to relate my stories. And I want to someday be able to have all of this come together to lead me to that main goal, which is, you know, starting some sort of scholarship fund or something out there for people who need the help like I once did. So hopefully all of that makes sense, because like we're getting to the point where I'm going to be talking to you about certain things and I feel like people are going to be like shaking their heads like, you are so dumb. But I hope all of that backstory helps you understand the decisions that I made just within the past couple of years here, and why I just refused to give up, and why I was like, no, I am making this work because I know that I'm onto something. Like, I can feel it within every fiber of me. I'm onto something. I'm giving myself a voice, and I'm gonna make something happen with this. Hopefully it'll make sense. Go ahead and do my brows off camera just because it's really hard for me to talk while doing my brows, so I figured I would just do that off camera. But I'm gonna kind of like flash forward again, mostly to probably like the second year of having my YouTube channel and me kind of starting to realize the potential that YouTube could give me. And again, going back to giving me a voice, giving me a platform, that it could somehow work into all of my future goals that I have had for myself. And I think one person who really showed me what I could do was Carly Bible. She was the first beauty YouTuber I ever started following. And I realized that with her platform, she does a lot of good. One of the first like giveaways I ever saw her do was to have people go plant a tree and like film them planting a tree. And then she chose winners from that. And I was like, what? That's amazing. She's just had some really amazing opportunities, and she's traveled to other countries to try to help. And I mean, she's just done some really cool things. And she was someone who really showed me like, okay, so YouTube isn't just about like the material things and the money that people can make. And I know that's like a really deep subject right now within YouTube, but I always just push it back on to like what it can do to help other people. And I think that's amazing, and that's what keeps pushing me forward, even like at a time now where it's like everyone is so scrutinized and all these different things. That really keeps pushing me forward to, I think that this is something that can really help me achieve my personal goals one day. So I'm really grateful to Carly for that, and I think she does really cool things with how much success that she's had from YouTube. So once I started to realize that, then I really put everything into YouTube. I quit my job. I had a full-time job at a VA hospital. I actually quit before I started a YouTube channel, maybe like 2 years or something before I had my channel. It was so I could publish books more. I actually used to be a publisher. I used to work freelance for a publishing company. And so I quit my job to be able to focus more on the book side of things. But it was like right after I quit my job, the book industry changed on a dime. Like, I mean, it changed so quickly. It was mind-boggling to me. I actually had to make the decision to close down my company because the IRS came after me for taxes one time. And even though it was a mistake on my accountant's part and not my mistake, it scared me so much that I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I had to give up my dream of being a publisher, which was really hard. And also the publishing company that I was working for sent out an email on a Friday afternoon, Friday at 4 o'clock, and said, we're closing down, effective Monday. That was the majority of my paycheck, and I lost it with 3 days notice. So that sucked. And so I started doing YouTube kind of as an extension of my blog, because I still had my blog at this time. I started to put everything into YouTube, and that costs a lot of money. I know that I think that it's obvious when I say that it costs money to have a YouTube channel. It costs money for a camera, for lighting, for editing, for the makeup that I'm buying. I always like to do giveaways. I'm always buying for giveaways, etc. But it really is a lot of money. It's also very time consuming. And when you really go after something and you kind of put everything else on the back burner, I didn't publish a book for like 2 years or something like that, because I was trying so hard to really make something out of YouTube, because I saw the potential and what it could do for giving a voice and giving a platform. You're gonna hear me say that a lot. So I was like, nope, I gotta give it everything I can. And I pretty much drove us into the ground because you heard me say earlier, I'm still in debt from college and I'm still in student loan debt. But I was like, nope, I'm gonna make this work. So I pretty much drove us into the ground, which was very challenging on my marriage. It was very challenging on my mental health, especially when there was a point in time where I was like, oh my God, it's not gonna work. I'm not gonna be able to make anything of this. And I just put us thousands of dollars into debt trying to make this work. Wow. That was really tough on me mentally, because I was like, oh my gosh, I just really, like, I screwed up. I screwed up big time. I should have never taken those leaps. It was so sad to me because I loved what I was doing. I upload a YouTube video every single day because I enjoy it. I like it. It's fun for me. Nothing that I do and nothing that I have done has ever been driven by money. And I know that money is a very like sensitive topic on YouTube right now, and it just like grinds my gears when someone says something about me personally and money, because nothing that I have done has ever been driven by money. It's very expensive to publish books, and you don't make a lot of money publishing books. My books sell on Amazon between 99 cents and $3. Amazon takes a cut of that. I mean, there is not money in publishing unless you're a huge publisher with a publishing company. Your books are getting turned into movies and TV shows. If you're an indie author like me, I'm not in publishing for the money. And it's the same thing with YouTube. I totally understand that there are people out there that are making a lot of money on YouTube, but I mean, I think it's pretty obvious to see who's making a lot of money and who's not making a lot of money. You know, you see come tax time, you see how much money you actually made versus what you put out. And my tax returns the last couple of years are pretty abysmal. So luckily it was, you know, I had a husband who had his full-time job, and that was great. He was able to carry the health benefits for us. That was wonderful. And there got to be a point in time at about close to the end of 2017, I want to say maybe around this time last year, that all of a sudden I was getting more subscribers, which is always great to have more subscribers. It means people are, you know, enjoying your content enough to actually click that subscribe button instead of just kind of like watching. But I was getting more views, and more views typically equals more money. And I was getting to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna start actually making money from YouTube. Even when I think of everything that I'm, you know, putting out there to keep this channel up and running, I might actually be making some money from this. This is incredible. And when I say some money, I'm like $100, you know, it's like nothing crazy here. But I was like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely incredible. And I felt so proud of myself. And I was like, you are really doing it, girl. Like, this is amazing. And then my husband lost his job. And you know how I say, I still feel like my life story could be called Destined to Fail. It was like, you work so hard, and you get to that point, and then you get taken back down. So it was coming at a time where I was kind of dealing with my depression and mental health. I typically get seasonal depression in the winter, especially around holiday time. I greatly miss my family. We are an Army family. My mom, my sister, my niece, my nieces and nephews. They live in Alabama. I live in Iowa. I just kind of always struggle around that time. So I was in such a deep fog. And then with everything that was happening, with losing a job, losing health insurance, losing income, losing stability, losing all of that, it was such a challenging time. And I just thought, what am I gonna do? And that's when I really thought, you know, yeah, I was making like a little bit of money with YouTube, but I was like, I cannot support us off of YouTube and publishing. Like, I'm gonna have to say goodbye to one of them. So around the time that Mitch lost his job, obviously, like, he was very upset. It was very, it's a very challenging time, again, on your marriage. And I felt like we were already going through so much already, that for that to get thrown on top of it, man, it was hard. It was really hard, and I'm so grateful for so many people, so many messages of people just wanting to help or giving their advice or just sending along, you know, positive vibes, good messages, trying to keep me in good spirits. Oh my gosh, it was just incredible to feel that from a community. And it really fueled me, because I thought for a moment there, you know, I am gonna have to give up YouTube. Like, yeah, I'm finally seeing something from it, but I can't carry us on YouTube and publishing. Like, you can't, no, that's actually not possible. So I really thought I was gonna have to give up YouTube at that point, and I was so devastated. But then once all the support from the community, other creators, people who are watching, I was like, I cannot give this up. This is incredible. And it really kind of showed me that I had touched people and now they wanted to touch me back. That sounds kind of weird, but you know what I'm saying? And I just thought, no, I'm gonna work even harder. I'm gonna work harder, and it's gonna happen. I'm gonna make this work. And I didn't want to open up about what we were going through, because, you know, my husband's never been on my channel. You know, I don't really show him a lot. He's not like a social media kind of guy. He doesn't really feel comfortable with like cameras and all of that. So I'm not the type to like push him for it. But I realized that it wouldn't make sense, especially with my Will I Buy It series, for me to be like, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. And it's because we had gone down to one income. That was not a lot of income. And that obviously was playing a huge role in why I wasn't buying makeup. So I knew I had to say it. So I opened up in a video about that, about mental health and depression. And once again, the flood of comments that came in of how I was helping people with the words I was saying, how people were going through the same thing, the amount of people that said they enjoy coming to my channel because, you know, they're going through something and this is kind of like their outlet. It reminded me, their like escape. It reminded me of how I felt as a little girl when I would read books, that I would be going through some horrible things as a child that no child should have to go through. And I would read and I would get lost in a different world. So when I saw people saying that about my YouTube channel and how they could turn to that for their escape, I was like, no, you knew it. You knew that you were onto something, and you're gonna keep going. So I was having all kinds of lash struggles. I put some on, I took some off, I put another pair on, took them off. Now I'm on my third pair. I couldn't decide what I was doing. So I kind of like forgot what I was last talking about, since it's been a while since I've been filming. But I think I was talking about losing the job and how that was kind of like affecting me. And then I once again thought, I'm gonna have to give this up. I'm gonna have to, you know, I'm gonna have to realize, you know, all those people that said my dreams are too big, my goals are too big, I'm never gonna like be able to achieve any of that. I'm gonna have to realize that they were right. You know, and I'm just gonna have to give up a bunch of things that I want to do, and to give up on, you know, an end goal that I've wanted to achieve for so many years. And really my husband was one who was very motivating during that time, saying like, no, don't, like, I see how happy you are. I see what this has done for you. You know, your enthusiasm every day. He said that, you know, I really inspired him. I hate getting so upset. It's so annoying. But, you know, he said that it really motivated him. He was in a job for so many years that he didn't like, but, you know, he made good money. He had good benefits. He had opportunities with his job, etc. And he got comfortable. So, you know, he said kind of like looking at me and seeing that I really pursue things that I absolutely love, and I love going to work. I love waking up every day. I mean, he's had to like push me out of my office to get me away from my laptop because I love working. And he said now that he had this, you know, a situation with what are you going to do next? You know, he said seeing me and what I do and my passion for it, you know, was really inspiring and motivating to him. And that really meant a lot to me. He is working again, which is great. We're getting like back on our feet again, which is fantastic. And he's actually doing something now that he truly enjoys. I never thought he was meant for a desk job, which is what he was doing. I never thought he was meant for the corporate world. And now he's actually doing something where he actually gets to be actually a little bit creative too, but he actually gets to see his work come together instead of just like managing people and taking phone calls and all of that. He's getting to be able to create things and see projects from start to end, and I think that he's a lot happier with that. So that's really amazing. And you know, to think that I had a little bit to do with some of the decision making that he had during those few months is a really, really cool feeling. So that's a little update about where we are now. Where he is working is a couple hours away from where we live, and so we are preparing for a move. I've been talking about that for a while. It really stalled out there for some time because where we're moving, the market is way different than the market that we live in now, which is crazy because we're literally just moving like 2 hours west, and I'm like, how is the market so different and so expensive there? It really caught us off guard. But I hope everything was able to make sense. I hope that you can see, I mean, I'm sure this video is like 8,000 years long because I've been filming for almost 4 hours, but I hope that you can see why I decided to share some of that backstory with you and to how it can relate to me not wanting to give up over here, and in publishing and all of that. Like I said, I don't do anything that I do for money, fame, perks, anything like that. It's all kind of driven for this end goal, and a goal that I've had since I was a very young girl, and a goal that I'm determined not to give up on. You know, something that I've had so many different curveballs thrown at me. I've had so many times where I thought I just need to throw in the towel. I can't do it anymore. But I'm really proud of myself that I've never given up on it. And I'm excited to see what the future holds. Honestly, I'm really excited that people were really requesting to see this video, and that I finally kind of got up the courage to film it, because it reminded me of why I'm doing this. And like I said, it can be really hard to make these kinds of videos, to put out this kind of personal information, to be vulnerable, because, you know, sure, you can get comments like your makeup sucks, your brows are bad, you know, etc., whatever it may be. But when you get comments of people saying how you should have handled a situation in your personal life, or why you're a bad person because you made this decision, those attacks on your character can be really, really challenging. It can be very hard to read those comments. But just sitting down and filming this video just reminded me of, again, my end goals and why I'm doing this. And I definitely want to make more videos like this, or just to be able to chat about certain issues more, and to just open up a little bit more. I don't know how often I'll be making certain videos, but if there's ever anything, you know, if you hear me say something on another platform and you're like, I would like you to expand on that topic, you know, please let me know, and I'd be happy to make videos on it. And I'm really happy that I decided to go through and make this one. It's been on my mind to do for several months now, and it just kind of, I had to like work my way up to making it. But I hope everything made sense. You know, I have the camera that overheats, so I kind of have to like stop and go, so it can make it pretty challenging, and especially parts where I got emotional, you know, I had to like stop and take a breather and take a second. So hopefully everything makes sense. Maybe you've learned something new about me today. I'd love to know if you guys have like a goal that you think is really big, and that maybe other people have told you is too big, or you've been turned down for. What is it? Because sometimes just putting it out there, putting it out into the universe, you never know what's gonna happen. So I would love to know some in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought, but that is gonna do it for today's video. I know this one was so long, but thank you guys for watching, and thank you for sticking through with it. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope it brought you something. I hope it brought you something. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for supporting my channel throughout these years. It is so incredibly appreciated. If you guys enjoyed this one, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up. I hope that you'll also consider subscribing before you go, and I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video.